Today, we have an interesting panel discussion on research cost effectiveness, long-term solution for the industry. It's an extremely important subject. As all of you know that development of any drug or medicine costs quite a bit. And one has to look at the cost very seriously and see that how to optimize the cost. That's a very important subject. So that is going to be discussed in this panel. And we have very eminent people on the panel. I will just invite them to come and take their places on dais. Dr. Harry S. Rathore, the Managing Director and Head of Lonza India Limited is here. I am requesting Dr. Rathore to come to the dais. Then we have the panelists. Dr. Rathore will give the initial remarks after my initial introductory remarks. Then we have the panelist, Dr. Richard Connell, Vice President and Head of Asia Research, Pfizer Shanghai. Please, most welcome. Dr. Sandeep Gupta, Senior Vice President, Discovery and Early Development, Endo Pharmaceuticals, United States of America. Yeah, yes. Dr. Cyrus Karkaria, President, Biotech, Lupin Limited. Dr. Venkat Jasti, Chairman and CEO, Suven Life Sciences, Hyderabad, India. The moderator for this session will be Dr. Sumit Ghoshal, Deputy Editor, Business India Limited, Mumbai. Mr. Sumit Ghoshal, please come. Friend, I'd like to make few points before Dr. Rathore takes over. If you look at some of the terminology that is being used for cost effectiveness of any particular product or research effectiveness, you find some very interesting definitions. For example, there is also a terminology called research effectiveness. It's not the cost alone, the type of research you do and its effectiveness is extremely important. So it really compares the effectiveness of outcomes of various research-related activities. So again, it's not a straightforward case to measure the R&D effectiveness. That's also a very important part of the subject. When you talk about cost effectiveness of research itself, again, these are not very easy to define. And also there is, many people also do two types of exercises. One is called cost effectiveness analysis and cost benefit analysis. But both of them attempt to justify additional costs vis-a-vis the additional expenditure that they are going to put in. That is where I think they require this information from the funding agencies. But in cost benefit analysis, R&D benefits are monetized and results are stated in the form of ratios, which are normally understood by the business people. Now, I would like to mention one interesting study which was made in the United States in 1995, where they did the cost effectiveness analysis for the medical field, and they found that the median cost per intervention at the time was US dollars 42,000 per life saved. This was taken some sort of a index for cost effectiveness of research at the time. They also found that cost effective ratios below US dollars 20,000 per quality adjusted life years, that's called QALI, is taken as a threshold value. Why I'm telling is many of these sort of ratios, these sort of parameters are being used to assess the cost effectiveness. Finally, I'd like to mention that the important parameters for assessing the cost effectiveness are the R&D pricing that has been done and cost of institutional efforts to contain the various cost options, and also how the targets have been fixed and how they have achieved, and the duration of R&D for each activity and how they have started and completed, reduction of R&D time and administrative tasks which has to be minimal in a project, process automation to speed up the processing, that is also important component of cost effectiveness, increasing the productivity of the research personnel, and also ability of the organization to retain very critical R&D staff. If they leave, then again the whole project goes haywire. So like that, there are several parameters are there. I'm sure today the panel is going to deliberate These and also many of other points which are extremely important for cost effectiveness. With this very brief introduction, I'd now like to invite Dr. Rathod to make his opening remarks.
Well, thank you, Dr. Raghavan, for inviting me and my colleagues in the podium to have a very stimulating discussion on the cost effectiveness in research as well as in development. Today is the last 3 days of this very stimulating discussion here in BioAsia 2012. It happens to be a Saturday, and it happens to be at 3 p.m. when it is going to conclude. So it is a very difficult session to run, but I really die-hard the researchers, and I really want to thank them very, very much. You see, in the very recently concluded the business meetings in Davos, which is an annual function in Switzerland, it was very, very clear. The word is still not out. The most of the Western countries are still not out of the turbulent time in the financial market. There are still some bright spots are in the BRIC markets, which are forecasted to grow between 7 to 9%. As you will see in my subsequent discussions, that you will see that there will be the emerging market, the collaboration and the cooperation between the how to reduce the cost overall and speed up the drug development process. Myself and some of my colleagues will be sharing that. These are the challenging times for the global pharma. As everybody knows, the drug pipeline, the R&D productivity is significantly low. There is a managed care, the pricing and the reimbursement pressure. There are increased penetrations of generic. The mega patents are going to be expiring. There are fewer and fewer blockbusters are coming out of the pipeline. And there are growing regulatory challenges globally are taking place. So industry has to focus, boost and sustain growth through the technology and product portfolio development. There will be renewed interest in biologics and the branded generics. There is a building presence of the global pharma into the emerging markets. And overall, there is an operational excellence in both cost containment, efficiency enhancement, and the R&D productivity. I think I was on the same podium, I think, in 2008 and 2009 when the biotech, the segment of the pharma industry, the biotech, was in the doldrum because the biotech industry was not getting enough funding. The VCs basically who want to fund the biotech, emerging biotech, they do not have the patience to stay put. And there was no biotech IPO was introduced in 2008. The situation is changing. The good days are coming. As we see, the IPO window, at least in the US, look like it's going to be reopening in 2013. That is what we heard here in San Francisco and California. There are more consolidation. There are more M&A activities. The big-pocketed global pharma are in the spree of buying to expand their market share. The number of, you have seen the number of mergers and acquisitions have recently happened. Abbott buying Piramal, Teva combining with Cephalon, Pfizer, Wyeth getting together. So this is a trend which is continuing. My friends, ladies and gentlemen, the globalization is a fact, and it's not going to change. Asia